Hey, it's Donny. Hey. Today I want to talk about one of the unsung heroes of guitar playing, and that is the palm of your hand. So, we're going to talk about palm muting today, and what that is if you take this part of your hand and you put it on the bridge, you use it to deaden the strings, and you can change the tone of your guitar by doing this. So, this is without palm muting, just grabbing an E chord. And then with palm muting, and you have some range here. The further you go up the strings on the guitar, the more dead it's going to sound. So you can turn it into ghost notes. If you're too far up, you're giving it no life to ring out. It doesn't have any sustain. And then as you go back, that's taking it off. First back on. So this is a great thing to work on. I use it in almost every song I play at this point in my guitar playing journey. I think a lot of other people do. As you get better, you start incorporating it more because it gives you more dynamic range. I have another lesson that goes deep into dynamics that you can check out. This is going to stick just to the palm muting aspect of that, and we'll go into that in more detail. But one thing that I see a lot of beginners do is, and I was one of these people too, is when you're strumming, you're very inefficient with your strumming. You're strumming very, very heavy, and you're strumming, so it's automatically going to tighten up your strumming, and it's going to improve that. And then once you tighten up your strumming, you're going to have a lot easier time working on your dynamics, which is the volume range that you strum with. So if you're palm muting, you can strum quiet, and then you can take your hand off, and you can strum louder. So that is great for a solo musician that's just a singer-songwriter or just playing by themselves, to have some dynamic range. Because if you're playing a whole song, and if I was just going to go to E to A, and you have a verse that's just E to A, like You Don't Know How It Feels by Tom Petty is a good one where he uses palm muting. But if you were going to play that, without palm muting, that is going to get boring after, into the second and third verse of the song. It's just not going to be as pleasing to the listener. What's much better is if you want to build something up like that, you can slowly start palm muting less. Pull your hand off the bridge a little bit as you're strumming it. And it just gives you more range to work with, so you can have more feel within the song. It's definitely something you want in your bag of tricks. And it's not that hard. Once you start working on it, you're going to get better at it. And another thing that this helps with is if you're trying to play lead in between your chords, since you're tighter to the strings, it's going to be a lot easier to add those lead lines. So if I was just going to come down here, play like a major chord, and I was going to play it with full strums. So now my hand's down here. It's going to be very hard to get it back up the guitar and to add a lead line. And you need to tighten up immediately. Whereas if you're palm muting, or you have your anchor on, even if you're not palm muting, if you have your anchor on the guitar, you don't have very far to go, right? Your hand's here, you just got to get back to here instead of being way down here and trying to get back up, which for a beginner is going to be very difficult. So this is definitely going to help you if you're trying to add lead lines in between your chords, because you're going to be more tightened up. And another big thing about this, this is a thing beginners don't understand. I didn't understand it, is that you don't need to strum all 6 strings. Just because you're playing an E chord, you got that little chord chart that shows that every string on the guitar is strummed for an E chord, and it can be, but it doesn't have to be. So one thing with palm muting, if you're playing an E chord, you just want to play the low strings, and then you want to play the high strings. It makes it a lot easier to do that. It makes it a lot more pleasant. So definitely something you need to work on. Get in your bag of tricks. As the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. You can add it to songs that don't have palm muting in them, right? You can play them with palm muting. It's going to add more feel to it. If you have a spot where the singing part is soft, you're going to probably want to play softer with it. And then as it grows, like if it goes into a chorus, you may want to open up your strumming in that chorus so that when you're singing stronger and louder, you're also strumming heavier and louder as well. So your voice can work with your guitar as you develop your strumming and your picking here. And this also works in solos, soloing single lines. You can palm mute for those. And you can, same thing. If you want to accentuate some notes, you can stop palm muting, but you can start off palm muting. So that's more of a dynamic thing that you're doing, but you're still using the palm muting while you're soloing and taking it off, and that gives you dynamic range. It helps you work on your palm muting. It's gonna help just create that dynamic range within your solos, within your strumming. It's definitely something you want to work on. If you like this lesson, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.